Okay, I'm here with Loumi, and Loumi has a resource guarding issue. So if I come and sit over here or reach, there we go. So now I know I only wanted to have a little bit of it before. So there's some treats that have fallen back there. So dogs can guard a person, place, or thing. So what I'm going to do in the treatment for this is I'm going to approach, and right there, see how he bared his teeth? He's saying that baring the teeth is the first thing that he said as a warning. So what I'm going to do is I stopped at that point, I walked away, and that was like about a half foot away, so I now walk out, but I stop further away, I throw a treat, and I back away. So I'm going to approach again. He licked his lips. That's another sign of stress. Before he was baring his teeth, even the second time I did it, this time he didn't because I stopped a little further away, so I walk away. And I want him to see me do it. I throw a treat, and then I walk away. So when you have a dog that has a resource guarding problem, this is really the technique I got a Gene Donaldson book called Mine, M-I-N-E with an exclamation point, is what you want to do when the dog is guarding something. And they can guard a person, place, or thing. This is not an indictment on how you've trained your dog, although if your dog has things and you physically take them away from them, there's a direct correlation between them and guarding. So you want to teach your dog a good drop it cue and a leave it cue if your dog has a resource guarding problem. So what you do is when your dog is in that guarding mode, you move away, grab some treats, and then you approach. Now this chair, because of the camera angle, I only did it from here, but I would normally approach here, 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 here. I want to do as many different angles as I can, but I'm stopping the same distance. So what it is I want to approach him, stop him before he has to give me a warning, throw a treat, making the situation better, then I walk away and I approach another angle, but stop at the same distance. So I was about 2 feet away, and he seemed to be giving me a lick lip, and that was the only indication. So often the body language the dog is going to have when it resource guards, if I'm the dog and I have my mouth open, that's a big warning. So I go from an open mouth to a closed mouth, I lowered my head and I stared and I got stiff. Dogs are normally what I call wiggly and jiggly. If your dog goes like, that's a warning. So if you can recognize those warnings, the snarling and all the rest of that stuff that you saw when we first started the video was because I wasn't listening to what he was saying. A bite is a form of communication. We don't like that form of communication, but that's the end of the road because I wasn't listening. Now dogs, when they get into a resource guarding state, are not in a normal frame of mind. It's essentially instincts. And it's important because in the wild, they need to control their resources. They need their food, they need their shelter, or whatever it is. When we domesticate dogs, they don't need to do that, but there is some carryover, so this happens frequently. So when your dog does resource guard something, you need to be able to recognize, move away, approach, and make the situation better, and then walk away. Now first, if I'm stopping here, 2 feet away, and I go from all the angles, and then it goes pretty well, then I might go to 1 3/4 foot away. He's small, so I'm doing small fractions. And throw the treat. And gradually I'm 1.5 foot away, then 1 foot away, then 1/2 foot away. And this might take several practice sessions. This is not something that typically happens overnight. But eventually I get to the point where I can just drop the treat and I walk away, and the dog's not threatened because I'm not demonstrated that I am here to take their stuff. And I'm no longer grabbing stuff out of their mouth or physically forcibly taking things away from them. So if Loumi, can you grab that or kick that towards me? Loumi, puppy, 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 Loumi. There you go. Loumi, come here. So if I wanted to drop something, yes. And then if I wanted to pick this up, I would throw some treats there, then I pick it up. So I'm going to give him one tool. We'll go ahead and do this again. So, yes. And then I throw a treat there. When he's getting that treat, I take it away so he doesn't see me take it away. So to teach your dog to drop, might as well do this while they're on it. When he has a low value item like this, Loumi, yeah, you're supposed to pick that up, not be worried about the treat I have in my fingers. See, that was not quite guarding. There we go, drop. Now I would want to say drop as I present the food, but if he gets stiff, bares his teeth, he's saying, no, I don't feel comfortable with that. And so let's do this again. Loumi. And I don't want to reach and grab it because he's already shown me some guarding, so I don't want to do it in front of him. So I'm going to tease him a little bit. There we go. Drop. Yes. then he gets the object and I don't pick the object up. And we want to do this with low value items like his toys because we normally don't want these, so he's normally not guarding these. Now that's drop it, but there's also a take, give, and drop. So what I would do is say take. Yeah, you're more interested in the treats. Take, yes. Drop, yes. So for take, give, and drop, you want to do these with regular toys. And the idea is, so when you're asking to drop things, he's comfortable with dropping. All right, now I'll go over take, give, and drop here as well. So the training wheel version is I have a treat in my hand. I'm going to offer it to him. In a loose hand, he can smell it. I've got a treat in this hand. As soon as he disengages, I'm going to say his marker word, which is yes, and then I'm going to give him a treat from this hand. And I'm not taking my hand away. Let's get a better camera angle for you. People at home can see. Yes. So as soon as he gave up and stopped trying to take it, I said yes to let him know I like that, and then I give him a treat in my other hand. I'm going to do the same thing. What we should see him doing is disengaging faster and faster. Yes, just like that. You're getting the full treat right now, buddy. We cut these up because he's such a little man. It's LA, you gotta have a good figure. All right, let's see it one more time. Yes. See how quickly he's giving it up? This is the training wheels version. The second version of it is I'm gonna drop a treat and collapse on top of it. And I have a treat in this hand ready to go. Yes. So as soon as he gives it up, then I go ahead. Let's bring you over here so we have better camera angle. No, you can stay right there. So as soon as he licks it up, or as soon as he gives it up, then I give him a treat from my other hand. All right, so I drop it and I cover. Yes. And then I pick this one up. He never gets this treat. After a while, I drop it and I cage. And if he goes for it, then I collapse my hand down on top of it. Yes. So as soon as he stops trying to take it, I say yes, and then I give him the treat from my other hand. He never gets the one that we drop on the ground. Just doing this to reposition you so everybody at home can see. Eventually, you want to get into what we call hovering. This is probably way too early for a hover, we'll see. If he goes for it, then I collapse my hand down on it. At this point, I'm going to wait for him to give me some eye contact. And this is, again, way too early. Normally I'd rep this a lot more before I wait for them to be eye contact, but I want to give you a good demo in this. Yes! And then when do we actually introduce the cue? When I can drop it and he no longer goes for it, I'd say, drop, leave it, leave it. Notice I'm not moving my left arm, the one that holds the treat. It's against my belly. I can make a little bit of a benign sound to get him to look. Yes. So once he's at this stage, and again, this is early. I do this for a living, so you shouldn't expect to get results this fast. I'm going to ask you to sit. Doesn't have to sit for this normally. Then I would just say leave it. And if he goes for it, I collapse on it. But when I say leave it, and he leaves it, looks at me, I'd say yes, and then I give him that treat. So this is how this is the leave it cue. And this is a really important cue to have. That way, if there is something you know he's going to guard, you can say leave it before he actually gets it. And then now if he already has it, then that's when we use the drop it cue that I showed you earlier. But the main thing is we want to make sure that when he does have this resource guarding problem, we move away from him, grab some treats, and instead of just ignoring it, we're going to try to make it better. Now, what if your dog resource guards his space in bed? Well, it's dangerous to have the dog sleep with you. And that's what he actually does resource guard in the bed. If he's asleep, the guardian who's filming this right now, if she's on the couch, she was like, I get a little bit nervous because he'll come up and snuggle with me, which I love. But sometimes then I'll go to pet him and he gets in this guarding mode. And so she's like, I'm not sure when I can pet him and when I can't. So when he's awake, I would say you're fine. If he's asleep, the guardian here, she's I don't mean this in a sexist way, but she's a very attractive woman. I'm sure that her partner wakes her up at times and says, baby, I just want to wake you up and let you know how beautiful you are. And she said, oh, thank you so much. And she goes back to sleep. An hour later, he wakes up, he goes, baby, you were even more beautiful than you were before. Thank you, but let me sleep and be beautiful and just appreciate it and don't wake me up. When dogs are like this, they're so cute, we want to pet them when they're asleep. But when we're asleep, we really don't particularly like being woken or arisen. So you can try to, now if he comes, it's confusing, because if he comes and snuggles up next to you and we're petting him, he's like, you came here, and then suddenly you're guarding me. But if he goes to sleep, he's probably, because the guardians have accidentally or taken some stuff away from him, so I think that's caused a little bit of this resource guarding. So now we're going to practice this technique. We're going to teach him to drop it, we're going to teach him to leave it, and then if he falls asleep next to you on the couch and you want to pet him, I would quietly get up and move away, and when you're over here, call him when he comes off the couch, then go back, sit down on the couch, and then you're inviting him to come back up to you and petting him. Now we're also going to watch for cutoff signals. The guardian who's filming this right now is reaching out to pet him, and he gave her a little cutoff signal. He leaned away a little bit, and she stopped trying to pet him. And that's a really important thing that a lot of us don't recognize or realize, is we just think we can pet dogs anytime. They're just like us. We don't always want somebody to hug us or kiss us or touch us. And so dogs can have consent as well. Loumi. So next time that Loumi guards something, go grab a small cachet of treats, start approaching him from different angles, stop before he gives any warnings, before he bares his teeth. But really when he licks his lips and gives a little stare, that's when you stop, throw a treat, then walk a couple feet away, approach from a different angle, but stop at that same distance. And then after you've done all the angles that you can, then move a couple inches closer and try doing the same thing. When you move so close that he bares his teeth, Loumi, when he bares his teeth, then he's saying that that's too close. So back up. You always want to end on a positive. So back up and practice a couple reps at a successful distance so that he starts to think, when my humans approach me, not only are they not going to steal my stuff, they're going to make my situation better. Loumi, sit. Well, this is my buddy Loumi, and these are some tips and tricks you can use if you have a dog that likes to resource guard your person, place, or thing.